she was not merely a girl, but also a serpent. Long ago, in a village nestled amidst the dense greenery of the African forest, there lived a girl named Shola. Her tale began in sorrow, for she was abandoned by her own mother mere moments after her birth. As the villagers whispered of her peculiar birth, they cast scornful glances her way, and children threw stones at her as she roamed the outskirts of the village. But amidst the cruelty of the world, a glimmer of kindness shone through in the form of an elderly woman who took pity on the forsaken child. She became Shola's caretaker, providing her with the love and warmth that her own mother had denied her. Yet despite this small solace, Shola's heart ached with the knowledge of her mother's abandonment and the villagers' disdain. And so, she sought refuge in the depths of the forest, where the ancient trees whispered secrets and the wildlife offered silent companionship. It was there, amidst the tranquil embrace of nature, that Shola's extraordinary journey truly began. In the heart of the forest, where the sun's rays filtered through the lush canopy, Shola discovered a truth that set her apart from the rest of humanity. For you see, she was not merely a girl, but also a serpent, born with the ability to transform, at will. It was a secret she guarded closely, for she knew that revealing her true nature would only deepen the mistrust and fear that already surrounded her. Despite the villagers' animosity, Shola possessed a heart brimming with kindness and compassion. Whenever danger threatened the inhabitants of the village, she would shed her human form and take on the guise of a mighty serpent, ready to defend those in need. Though her actions were born of pure intent, the villagers remained oblivious to the selfless deeds performed by the outcast girl who roamed their midst. Yet despite their ignorance, Shola continued to watch over them from the shadows, her serpentine form a silent guardian in the night. One fateful day, as the sun dipped below the horizon and darkness descended upon the village, a cry for help pierced the stillness of the night. It was the prince, pursued by a monstrous wolf, that prowled the outskirts of the forest. Without hesitation, Shola transformed into her serpent form and sprang into action, her scales gleaming in the moonlight as she confronted the fearsome creature. The battle raged on, the clash of fangs and claws echoing through the night, until finally, with a venomous strike, Shola vanquished the wolf and saved the prince from certain doom. Yet instead of gratitude, Shola was met with scorn and betrayal. The prince, blinded by his own pride and arrogance, refused to acknowledge the debt he owed to the girl who had risked her life to save him. Ignoring the pleas of his advisors and the whispers of his conscience, he convinced the king to exile Shola from the village, casting her out into the wilderness once more. And so, with a heavy heart, Shola departed from the only home she had ever known, her spirit weighed down by the ingratitude of those she had sworn to protect. Banished from the village, Shola wandered alone through the vast expanse of the forest, her heart heavy with sorrow and resentment. Though she longed to unleash her fury upon those who had wronged her, she knew that vengeance would only perpetuate the cycle of hatred and suffering. Instead, she chose to retreat into solitude, seeking solace amidst the tranquil beauty of the natural world. Meanwhile, back in the village, the once prosperous kingdom began to unravel at its seams. Illness and misfortune plagued the land, and whispers of impending doom spread like wildfire through the streets. Desperate for answers, the new king turned to the village herbalist, hoping to uncover the source of their woes. It was then that the herbalist revealed the forgotten pact made by Shola's ancestors, a pact that bound her bloodline to the fate of the kingdom. In their haste to cast her out, the villagers had unwittingly broken the sacred bond, unleashing a curse that threatened to destroy everything they held dear. Realizing the gravity of their mistake, the king and his subjects resolved to seek out Shola and beg for her forgiveness, knowing that only she held the key to their salvation. With newfound determination, the king and his entourage ventured deep into the heart of the forest, guided by the whispers of the wind and the wisdom of the ancient trees. After days of searching, they finally found Shola, her eyes heavy with sorrow and her spirit burdened by the weight of centuries-old grievances. As the villagers knelt before her, their heads bowed in shame and remorse. Shola's heart softened with compassion. Though the wounds of betrayal ran deep, she found it within herself to forgive those who had wronged her, knowing that forgiveness was the first step towards healing the rift that had torn their community apart. But forgiveness alone was not enough to undo the damage that had been done. In order to appease the spirits and lift the curse that hung over the village like a dark cloud, Shola knew that she would have to make the ultimate sacrifice. With tears in her eyes and a heavy heart, she pledged to return to the village and fulfill her duty as the guardian of her bloodline, knowing that her selfless act would bring about the redemption and renewal that the village so desperately needed. And so, with the dawn of a new day, Shol returned to the village, her spirit lighter and her resolve unshakable. As she crossed the threshold of her former home, she knew that her journey was far from over. But with the love and forgiveness in her heart, she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that she had the strength and courage to overcome them.